Hello and welcome. Today, we are going to pull back the curtain on one of the most powerful features in SAP SuccessFactors Employee Central, workflows. If you've ever wanted to bring some serious control and automation to your HR processes, well, you are in exactly the right place. Let's dive in.
You know the drill, right? A simple data change for an employee suddenly kicks off this massive storm of emails, forwards, and follow-ups. You're never quite sure who has the final say or if the thing has even been approved yet. Honestly, it's just inefficient, and it's a recipe for mistakes.
Thankfully, there is a much better way. So in this first section, we're going to see how workflows are built to tame all of that chaos. We'll get into what they are and how they can automate your approval process from the very beginning to the very end.
So what is a workflow in SuccessFactors, really? Well, think of it as a pre-planned approval route for any change to employee data. And it has two really critical jobs. First, to automate your business processes, which saves a ton of time and headaches. And second, it acts as a quality check, making sure the data in your system is accurate and has been properly signed off on.
Okay, a quick but really important heads up before we go any further. Workflows are incredibly versatile, but you can't use them for absolutely everything. The system doesn't support them for changes to an employee's biographical info, their citizenship info, or their emergency contacts. It's just good to know those boundaries right from the start.
Of course, any process is all about the people involved. So in this next section, let's meet the key players, what I like to call the workflow team, the folks responsible for getting any approval across that finish line.
You know, a great way to picture this is like a digital relay race. The request itself is the baton, and it gets passed from one person to the next in a very specific order. Each person has their own unique role to play to get that baton all the way to the end.
So let's break down this team. First up, you have the approver. This is the person with the authority to say yes, no, or hey, send this back for a few changes. Then you've got the contributor. Now, they don't approve anything, but they add really valuable context or comments to help the approver make the right decision. And finally, there's the CC role. These are the stakeholders who are just kept in the loop. They get a notification once the whole process is done, so they know the change has been made.
Okay, so we know who is involved, but how in the world does the system know exactly who to send the request to in the first place? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of the design and the really smart logic that powers this whole thing. This is where the magic really happens. You don't want to be sitting there manually typing in, "Send to Sarah's manager" every single time. No way. The system has to be smart enough to figure out who the right approvers are dynamically for any employee at any given time. So how does it do that?
It all comes down to something called participant types, which is basically the system's toolkit for finding the right people. This is where the real power is. You can route based on a simple role, like a manager, which is perfect for traditional org charts. Or you can get way more specific and route to a position, which is absolutely essential if your company uses position management. This kind of flexibility means you can make the workflow match how your company actually works, not the other way around.
Let's just zoom in on the most common one, role. When you pick role, the system automatically looks up the employee's reporting line. So if you set the approver to manager, it'll find whoever is listed as that specific employee's manager in the system and shoot the request straight to them. It's simple, but it's so powerful.
Now, let's tackle something that trips a lot of people up. When an employee is changing managers, who's supposed to approve it? The old manager or the new one? Well, SuccessFactors lets you decide. If you pick source, it looks at the data before the change, so the old manager. If you pick target, it uses the data after the change, so the new manager. The key thing here is to just ask yourself, who is responsible for this decision right now? Is it the outgoing manager signing off on a transfer, or is it the incoming manager who needs to approve the details of their new team member?
A great workflow shouldn't need constant babysitting, right? It should just run itself. In this section, we're going to look at the features that stop workflows from ever getting stuck, basically putting the whole thing on autopilot.
The classic problem. A time-sensitive promotion or a pay raise gets started, but the one person who needs to sign off on it is on a beach somewhere for 2 weeks. Does everything just grind to a halt? Well, not if you've set things up the right way.
The first tool in your autopilot toolkit is the automated reminder. You can set a remind in days value, let's say 2, and if the approver hasn't taken any action in 2 days, the system will automatically send them a little nudge to keep things moving along.
But what if a little nudge just isn't cutting it? Well, you can also set days until auto-approval.
So for example, after 7 days with no response, the system can just go ahead and approve the request itself. This is absolutely perfect for those low-risk routine changes that just need to get done.
And for those more critical items that you can't just auto-approve, you have escalation. This is your ultimate safety net. If a workflow is stalled for, say, 5 days, the system automatically reroutes the entire thing to a designated escalation receiver. This new person now owns the request completely, and the original approver can't even touch it anymore. This is how you guarantee that nothing important ever falls through the cracks.
And finally, you have a few other key levers to pull. You can allow delegation, which gives people flexibility. You can enable the send back option, so requests can be corrected instead of just being flat out rejected. And you can enforce respect permission, which is a vital privacy control that makes sure approvers only see the data fields they're actually authorized to see. Okay, let's bring it all home. In our final section, we're going to put all these pieces together and create a simple blueprint you can use for thinking about and building your own super effective workflows.
Always start with the end goal in mind. Remember, the whole point of this is to automate your business processes and to guarantee that the data in your system is clean, accurate, and properly approved. Every single decision you make when building a workflow should serve those two big objectives.
So, to recap your blueprint, it's really 3 steps. First, define your team. Know exactly who your approvers, contributors, and CC roles are. Second, choose your logic. Use those participant types to let the system do the heavy lifting and find the right people automatically. And finally, build your safety net. Use reminders, auto-approvals, and escalations so that a process never, ever gets stuck.
And that brings us to the end. So I'll just leave you with this one final thought. Think about your current processes. What is one manual approval chain, one frustrating email thread that you could completely transform into a streamlined, automated workflow this week using what you've learned today? That right there is the real power of this feature. Thanks for tuning into this explainer.